Let me tell you about the following program. It's just a gathering of like-minded individuals seeking greater personal growth. Community unity learning, thinking. We're not a cult type of cult. No Kool-Aid, no spaceships, no mandatory tracksuits, no squirrel mutilations, no sacrificing goats, mild farm work, no throwing virgins into volcanoes, no shucking of clothing in the middle of the forest. To the beat of a tom-tom, the beat of a tom-tom, the beat of a tom. Joe is not at all, the leader of the following. He's just the host. Where's the host?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic. I apologize for a late start tonight. You saw I put up the goal. There is a goal up there. I put up the goal, and Lady Logic comes to me, and she's like, are you streaming yet? So I was like, no. She's like, we have to video like a 15-second thing to our youngest who's in sleepaway camp, and it's got to be in by tomorrow morning. I was like, how are you giving this to me now? She's like, we just 15 seconds. So we didn't even know what we're supposed to be saying in this thing. No idea, like no clue. And I'm like, what are we supposed to be saying? We miss her? Are we supposed to be talking about like a boss mitzvah? I was like, I don't even know what we're supposed to be doing here. I don't even know what we're supposed to be. 41 takes. Like, oh, no. I was like, what is happening here? Stop. I got to get upstairs. Anyway, tonight, what do we got going on? Well, first and foremost, more fallout on Graham Platner. This story is the gift that keeps on giving as the left is eating itself alive. More allegations, more people scurrying away, the rats fleeing the ship, running away from the water. Oh no, I can't be associated with Graham Platner. The only one who's sticking with him is the woke right. I mean, this story is the woke right is now further left than the left. That they're just like, no, we love me some Graham. It's an awesome story. So yeah, there's that. Then we also have the war on birth tourism, as in particular Texas is fighting hard to basically do everything they can to scuttle that disastrous Supreme Court decision, which decided to recognize citizenship in illegal aliens who decide to pop out a kid on our soil. So now we have states that are trying to fight against it by instituting new legislation, which would prevent this invasion via birth tourism. Finally, we have the DOJ announcing that they're going to be engaging in election monitoring, cracking down on these cities which have a history and a pattern of having crazy shenanigans exploding when elections come out. Plus, we have a goal tonight. Our goal tonight is this. If we hit 15 super chats in quantities of $10 or greater, 10 or more, if we get 15 of those, I'm going to go into hour 3, and during hour 3, amongst other things, I'm going to be breaking down a story which I really thought I should cover. I've been thinking I should cover this, and this is ICE killed an illegal alien today. It did after he ran them. He ran them, and they kill him. So I was thinking I should really be talking about that story a little bit, because it's not every day that ICE goes out there and guns down an illegal alien. So I definitely think that I'm thinking that if we get to hour 3, that will be part. Maybe we'll do a little manifesto. We'll see. Anyway, all that and more. So make sure you stick around, buckle up, get yourself some popcorn, make yourself comfy. Just settle on in. And let's get things kicking. Let's get things started. We're going to start off first by talking about Graham Platner, because this story is amazing. It's amazing. What do we got here? Well, first we have Jem Psaki. We're doing a little flashback here. A flashback of the development of Graham Platner. What's the deal with Graham? Well, here you go. This is Graham Platner. On June 10th, Jem Psaki puts her campaign operative hat on to ask Platner if any other scandals are coming. Are any other scandals coming? Jem Psaki. Less than a month ago. Anything else? We heard all about how you're basically a predator against children on Kick. We heard all about that. Just, reassure us. Just please, just tell us there's nothing more. Tell us there's nothing more. We'll believe you.
There's going to be more coming at you. Has your campaign, I'm just putting my own campaign operative hat on here. Has your campaign been working to figure out what an opposition file with any additional allegations might have in it? Do you know that on your end? Have you thought about it?
Never.
Oh, I've thought about it extensively.
It's like,
I mean, here's the thing.
Have you thought about it? You're already like the freaking nominee. You're the freaking nominee. Have you thought about what your political enemies might be saying about you? Has that even crossed your mind? No, not once. But she wanted her audience to believe. Don't worry, Graham's got this covered. This is the end of the disgusting scandals about the dude in a towel reaching out to 15-year-olds. Don't worry, there's no more scandals. All the skeletons have been exposed.
I've lived my life. I was there the whole time.
I see. Look at that clever line I got. I know what I've done.
Much of the allegations that have come out as of late are literally just lies. And so, I don't really, they've already gotten to the
I never touched that 12-year-old.
point where they're moving into just making things up. And if we're already there, I don't know what else they're going to make up, because I don't know what's going around in the very weird minds of Republican operatives. And so the idea that they're going to try to...
It's just Republican operatives and ex-girlfriends. It's just that. Why is everyone making such a big stink about this? It's just a bunch of Britney, it's not, of Taylor Swift, Swifties. It's just a bunch of Swifties who are claiming that I'm popping on video with them. It's just a bunch of those. Why is everyone making such a big stink about this?
Scare me out of this race is rather laughable.
It's laughable.
That's certainly what they're trying to do. And even that.
Yeah, they're trying to scare you out of the race because you totally belong in Congress. You're Senate material. You're Senate timber. That's what you are.
Threat of trying to Biden you, as they're calling it, is certainly part of that. There's going to be.
So that was Jem Psaki. Jem Psaki doing her lip service for the Democratic Party. Disgusting woman. Terrible, evil. And then we had this that came out yesterday. And CNN, this such scum. They are such scum, CNN. They had this sitting around. They had this in their bank of videos. They had this and didn't drop it, didn't share with anyone until Politico. So they had no choice because Politico made a story out of his assault and, let's face it, his rape of his ex-girlfriend. But this was Jake Tapper had an interview with the ex-girlfriend.
There are going to be Democrats who say, I believe you, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for him anyway, because we need a progressive voice in the United States Senate. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to be able to handle that? I'm not saying it's the right answer or the right response, but
No,
And if you want to talk about your Stockholm syndrome and just how out of their freaking minds these leftists are, this woman herself, Looney Tunes, classic Looney Tunes. Listen to her response.
I have friends who feel that way, and that's been a hard pill to swallow. And I guess I need to not ask, potentially. Maybe I need to not ask in order to not care what they do. I understand that the state of our political environment is so much so that we need a lot of change. And he's offering that change. And, I'm not mad at anyone who has voted for him all along. If he wasn't who he was, I would be voting for him as well.
Sickening. So she's practically giving him an endorsement.
And going forward, I don't know what's going to happen.
there are going to
That's how beholden they are to their communist ideology. Yeah, sure, he raped me. he raped me. But yeah, I understand. We need a communist in the Senate. It's very, very important. Very, very important. So that kind of trumps how he violated me while I was screaming, no, stop, no, stop, no, stop, no, 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 stop, you drunken bastard, stop. But look, we need a communist in the Senate. So they're out of their minds. They're just completely cuckoo go nuts. Well, anyhow, so people who saw that video and they're like, she seems pretty credible. She seems like a lunatic, but she's pretty credible. Someone put together, it was funny, yesterday I shared with you Graham Platner's denial, and someone put this together, which was great, awesome, grade A. Side by side of Eric Swalwell and Graham Platner.
That you see and hear from me directly.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false.
Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false.
I'm going to spend time with my family and friends, and I appreciate those who have reached out to me to show support.
We are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love.
Mark.
That's a great side by side. That was really, I figured if you wouldn't appreciate, who would, right? Right? Anyhow, now some people are defending Graham Platner. Some very, very important people. We'll come to them in a moment. For the most part, folks are backing away, like stepping back into the hedges, like Homer Simpson. Here's one Homer Simpson backing into the hedges right here.
No, I believe that it's time for him to drop out of the race.
Oh, do you?
And when it comes to my own endorsements, I've made 8 endorsements at the state and federal level. They've all been right here in New York City. I'm incredibly excited at the fact that they won their races, and that's where my focus is for now. I think the focus of today should be to
let's not talk about Graham
the
Platner.
gravity of what so many of us have read, and I think that the only appropriate response is for the campaign to come to an end. I believe.
So that's him. That's Zohran Mamdani, Mayor Kami Mamdani coming out there and saying it's time for you to get on out. Time for you to move along, wrap this thing up, get out of the race. It's over for you, Graham. It's over. Move on. We're done with you. Even Bernie Sanders tweeting out there to all the people who actually think he has something of import to add. I have spoken with Graham Platner and about the best path forward for Maine. In light of these very serious allegations, I've recommended that he step aside. This is what he says about Graham Platner. In light of these serious allegations, this is how he talks about rapists that he doesn't vote for, or alleged, not even rapists. What I'm saying is that's terrible. I frame that terribly. This is what when he hears about completely non-credible, uncorroborated claims against Republicans. This is Bernie Sanders.
1 out of 4 women in this country have been a victim of sexual assault. This is an epidemic.
I don't believe that's true at all. I think that number is totally ridiculously, insanely inflated. Like if someone says, to a woman something crude, they basically, if they say someone says something crude to a woman, they call that sexual assault. So I don't believe the number is anywhere near 1 out of 4. I don't think it's anywhere near 1 out of 4. Like if someone says like, wow, nice bazingas, they'll just, they're like, that's sexual assault. I'm not saying it's not crude. I'm not saying it's something a dude should do to a woman. I'm just simply saying that this number of 1 out of 4 is insane. Definitely not true, but it's the numbers that they always love They always love driving up the hyperbole about the extent of a problem that they think needs to be remedied. So this is Bernie Sanders just being your classic Democrat.
This is an epidemic, and it tells me, and I think the vast majority of the American people, that we need a culture change in the way boys and men respond to women. It's a woman who has come forward to do what she thought was right as an American citizen, understanding from day one that she would be attacked by political opponents, making it clear to boys and men that in this country, that type of behavior is unacceptable. 1 out of 4.
Yeah. That's how he talks when it's, Brett Kavanaugh being accused of doing stuff 30 years ago, as opposed to like, well, maybe you should step aside. I think that maybe it's best for Maine if, you kind of call things quits. But he's not calling it quits. No, he's not willing to call it quits. That's not what Graham Platner is about. Graham Platner, according to New York Post, is holding the Democratic Party hostage. She's like, I won the nomination and I have rights now. I'm going to hold you freaking hostage. Graham Platner holding Democratic Party hostage, refusing to drop out unless he gets to name his successor. Washington, Maine Democratic candidate Graham Platner appears to be holding the Democratic Party hostage and is refusing to drop out after being accused of rape unless he gets to approve his successor to run for the Senate, the Post has learned. A source familiar with the campaign discussion said Platner, his campaign and political strategist Morris Katz. It has to be a Katz, really? Are deliberating about the Maine Democrat dropping out, but only if his replacement shares his left-wing values. And the clock is ticking for Democrats. There's a deadline of Monday for the 41-year-old oyster farmer to withdraw. If he does, state party officials will then initiate what they promised will be an open and transparent process. It's always an open and transparent process until they say Kamala's the choice. It's Kamala. It's always an open process until Bernie Sanders is winning, and they're like, no, Hillary got super delegates. It's always an open and transparent process for the Democrats. Whenever they're shoving someone to the side, when they take out the shiv that they basically, they fashion out a glass and paper towels and stick in their hands, shove it in the back of someone that they don't want anymore. It's always an open. They always promise you the open and transparent process. There's no such thing. No such thing as open and transparent, meaning we will openly and notoriously take the guy we want, irrespective of who of who the public wants, of who our party wants. Open and transparent process. The vibes to me like a play from Bernie Sanders to slide in Troy Jackson, another source said. This vibes to me like a play from Bernie Sanders to slide in Troy Jackson. The first source quipped that Platner apparently assumes whoever might replace him will want a rapist endorsement. Of course, that's what we want. I need that rapist to give me his blessing. The candidates firmly denied an accusation from ex-girlfriend Jenny Rackicott. I pronounce it as Rassicott, but apparently it's Rackicott, on Monday of sexual assault. His team is delusional, this person said, noting that Katz, the campaign strategist who helped elect New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, had been recommending Platner stay in the race. The 27-year-old wonder kid works for Fight Agency, a Democratic political consulting firm that has helped elevate progressive candidates. Awful. He wants to be the next David Axelrod, and Mamdani is his Obama, the third Democratic source added of Katz. But obviously Mamdani can't be president, at least not yet. So he's trying to find this while working class caricature to take up that mantle. Katz reportedly headed to Maine later Tuesday to select a replacement candidate after Mamdani publicly called for Platner to drop out of the race. Reps for Platner campaign did not respond to requests for comment. The Maine Democratic Party requested he withdraw the day before after multiple women have made serious, credible allegations. So there's that. Elderly Vermont independent Sanders, who's Platner's biggest backer, reportedly wants former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson to get the Democratic nomination to run against Republican Senator Susan Collins. Jackson, a logger turned lawmaker who appeared with Platner and Sanders at a Fight the Oligarchy rally in May, recently came in third in the state's Democratic gubernatorial primary. Both Maine Democrats have backed higher taxes on billionaires and a Medicare for all single-payer health care system and whatever other communist policies they can come up with Platner leaning more into foreign policy issues and denouncing U.S. support for Israel as shameful, accusing the Jewish state of committing genocide against Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. New York Times first reported on the talks that could define the race Democrats had hoped would be one of their best chances to regain the Senate. Trust me, when you got Susan Collins in there, you really pretty much have the Senate anyway. Asked whether Platner's swift hemorrhaging of support in the wake of the allegations from women would force Democrat bosses to exert more control over future primaries, strategist James Carville told the Post, how can they? They don't have any control. What do you mean they don't have any control? They knife whoever they don't like in the back. Look at Eric Swalwell. He had the audacity to run for governor, and they're like, we're ending your political career now. You want to run for governor? No. We never told you can do that. We never said you can do that. Say goodbye to the House of Representatives, Eric Swalwell. We're going to unleash everything we got on you. If you look at what happened to my dear friend Michael Bennett, Carville said, referring to the former moderate Democrat senator and Colorado gubernatorial candidate, the idea that there's someone controlling the Democratic Party, there's a council of elders, is just absurd. You're an idiot, Carville. You really are. It's not a failure of the Democratic Party. The party is being challenged, he added. If there's any fault with the lack of vetting, it would be with Platner's own campaign. Jackson, the substitute communist, submitted a filing with the FEC on Tuesday, setting up an exploratory committee to replace Platner on the 2026 ballot, the Bangor Daily News first reported. This is testing the waters exploratory committee. The July 7th filing stated its treasurer, Peter Saracen, has been earning a salary roughly $3,000 per month from Sanders' principal campaign committee since January 2025. A website urging Mainers to draft Troy has also popped up, touting Jackson as a proven progressive. A translation, complete and total commie. If Platner withdraws, Jackson will likely vie with other contenders for the governor's race for the Senate Democrat slot. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows and former CDC Director Nirav Shah, sources said. Congressional, who else we got potentially? Congressional hopeful Jordan Wood, who lost his primary in Maine's 2nd congressional district, as well as Maine Beer Company owner Dan Cleven, who launched a Senate bid before withdrawing last year, are also in the running according to Democrat insiders. So that's how the race is shaping up. Let's hear from my good friend Sean Farish. Sean Farish on this.
Now that's something I can get behind. Burn it down, Graham. Burn the whole thing down. Graham Platner says he's not going to drop out of the race unless he gets to choose his successor.
Burn it down!
Do it. Play hardball.
Yes.
Screw them because they're screwing you. All the Democrats knew what was in this dude's file.
Of course they did.
They all knew about the allegations.
100%.
They all knew about his, tendencies to honk his hedgehog in public restrooms. They all knew. They were willing to look past that whole thing as long as his poll numbers held up. Once they found out that he was no longer a viable candidate, that was it. They pulled the rug right out from underneath him and right out from underneath their voters. Of course, Democrat voters are used to that sort of thing. Biden in 24, Swalwell, they did this with Cuomo in 2022. They've done this a million times. Bernie got screwed in multiple presidential runs. Burn it down. I know Bernie Sanders just came out with his little statement urging Platner to withdraw. Fight the oligarchy and withdraw from the race, Graham Platner. Platner says, no, not unless I get what I want. Good. Democrats created a monster with this guy.
They did.
They thought he was going to coast into.
He's so toxic for them.
Into the Senate. Wrong. Now they got to deal with it. That's their problem. And I hope he makes it as big a problem as he can for the Democrat Party. Burn it down, Graham. Stop the steal. You won your primary fair and square. Your voters selected you. Stand up for yourself and stand up for them. Fight the oligarchy. The oligarchy is coming for you. Fight the oligarchy. I love this. Burn it down. Attaboy.
Well said, Sean. Well said indeed. The top Democrats are all calling for him to leave, though. They're begging him, please, please. Chuck Schumer is like, please step aside.
Who stood by him through other allegations are now rapidly abandoning him. Many of them.
You got Chuck Schumer. Look at this list here. Chuck Schumer, Gillibrand, Liz Warren, Ruben Gallego, Mark Kelly, Cory Booker, Fetterman, all of them, all of these people, Slotkin, Schiff, all of them are like, please get the heck out of the race now. All of them are so terrified that he's actually going to stay in.
Saying it's time for him to end his campaign. Alexis McAdams is joining us live with all of the fallout from this as that fallout grows by the minute. Alexis, this is just a drip, drip, drip when it comes to Graham Platner.
Bill, that's right. We talked about it the other day. First, the Nazi tattoo, then the allegations of physical abuse. That wasn't enough for Congressman Ro Khanna, and it still doesn't look like it's enough for Senator Bernie Sanders. We're waiting to see if he pulls his endorsement. Calls for Graham Platner, though, are growing for him to drop. Even the mayor of New York City just a short time ago, Bill, says this guy has to go after a woman who dated Platner, her name is Jenny Rakakot, accused him of raping her back in 2021. She told CNN he forced himself on her despite her telling him to stop.
Did Graham Platner rape you?
By definition, yes.
That's who stood.
By definition, yes. Oh, by definition, yes. Yeah. Yeah. But not everyone thinks he should drop out. No, no, no. No. The woke right still stands by Graham Platner. Of course they do. Of course they do. The woke rights. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene going on The View today. Don't worry, I'm only giving you a 90-second clip from The View.
That you tweeted yesterday that you kept up. You seem to imply that AIPAC might be involved with the latest allegations of sexual.
I do find it interesting that Platner is hated by AIPAC, and rape accusations show up years later from a woman who dated him. AIPAC hated Massey too. She's so deranged. So deranged, Marjorie Taylor Greene. AIPAC hated Massey too, and they rolled out fake AI ads showing lies about him in a sex trio with AOC and Ilhan Omar. What? What are you talking about? They did not roll. No one thought he was in some sort of flagrante delicto with AOC and Ilhan Omar. There's nobody who thought such a thing. Well, that's what AIPAC does. I certainly hope any woman who's raped or sexually assaulted is safe against justice. That's why it's so important to report immediately and not wait years. Although the Epstein victims have been trying for years to get justice, and unfortunately AIPAC, their donors and friends, love that elite group of men they're accusing. What are you talking about? She's so wacky. So it's not really working out. I'm not taking sides, just making observations. You're totally taking sides. You're making observations and basically saying she must be lying. That's what you're saying. Stand up. That's right. Stand by your man. Stand by Graham. Stand by your man, Marjorie. Stand by your man. Stand by it. For one reason or another, she deleted this post. I don't know why. It's actually poetry. This is beautiful. Why would you delete this post, Marjorie? Why would you delete this?
Assault by Graham Platner. Well, criticism of AIPAC is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee.
Okay.
Well, criticism of AIPAC is perfectly legitimate political discourse. Do you not understand that this plays into anti-Semitic tropes about Jews controlling things, about Jews and money and power and politics? What do you even mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is it's unfortunate that rich donors that put Israel first are playing in American politics.
Well,
just like my
AIPAC
friend
is American
Thomas Massey.
donors, to be clear. It's Americans who care about the U.S.
No. They care about Israel first. Israel's committing genocide.
Nope. You an idiot. She sounded more sensible when she was talking about the whole space laser thing back when before she came into Congress.
You do know that under federal law, only American citizens can contribute to AIPAC.
Let me tell you, the future of this country is Americans are sick and tired of funding Israel's genocidal wars that are killing
There's no such thing.
Millions of Americans, including me,
lunatic.
And Israel, for the record. That may be your
I don't
position.
support the government of Israel. I support people. And I support
No one asked you to support the government of Israel. What the hell are you talking about?
Americans, and I support our tax dollars being used for our purposes.
Do you see how this
However, AIPAC took out one of my good friends, Thomas Massey.
Ah, that's what it's all about. They took out Thomas Massey. Yeah, I don't think it was AIPAC, doofus.
Okay, and Thomas Massey worked for his district.
No, he didn't work for his district. No. The last thing he did was work for his district. He did no work for his district.
He lost because Donald Trump endorsed against Thomas Massey.
Thomas
to be clear,
Massey
you're going to blame AIPAC
Miriam
now? Because it feels like blaming the Jews.
It's not Adelson, it's Adelson, you ignorant nincompoop.
Like you're blaming the
No,
Jews.
I'm blaming donors that put Israel first over America. And this is
American donors who support Israel.
We're out of time.
Well, anyhow, so standing by her man, Graham Platner. Standing by her man. It's a very rough day for the woke right when someone who hates Israel as much as Graham Platner does loses his path to Congress. Glenn Greenwald, another person who's very upset, very upset that someone who hates Israel as much as he does is not going to be escorted into the Senate. Graham Platner is the Democratic nominee because Maine voters chose him over the stale, old, empty Democratic establishment hack that DNC tried shoving down their throats. He has every right to ensure that if he drops out, his replacement reflect the views Maine voters chose. Why? Why would that be? Under what theory? He has every right. This is what the woke right is further woke than the left. They're it's so insane. Glenn Greenwald and MTG standing by Graham. You stand strong, Graham. Unbelievable.
That you tweeted yesterday.
That's not what I wanted. Dan Bongino pointing out that the only reason they're bolting on him, like scurrying away, is because it's always been about political power.
I don't think so. And you brought up a really valuable point that I have to kind of reiterate here. This is not about any principle whatsoever. It's not about Platner's position on women or taxes or anything like that. This is about a simple power equation. Platner was an acquisition tool for more power for this collectivist communist left. That is it. The sole principle in their triage of needs was power, and he was a useful tool to get there. When the polls started to dip and there became this this moment, this red line moment after the allegations of porta potty stuff we can't even mention on the air, multiple allegations.
The porta potty incidents. When who the heck, seriously, in a porta potty with the stench to high heaven? Just, what is wrong with this dude? He's a freaking animal. Narcissistic animal. Yeah, Bazingas is a reference to hands, obviously.
Women, of course, the Nazi tattoo, which was kind of like a sign if you're not a moron. The red line moment only came when the betting markets turned and they were like, hey, man, this guy's probably not going to win. There are no principles involved here at all. You got to just go look up David Horowitz's anti-communist theory to have this make sense. We're the anti-communists, correct? The left are the anti-communists. They're just against us and whatever we stand for to advance their communist agenda.
So what else do I have for you on this story? This we covered. That wasn't the clip I wanted. This was Elizabeth Warren when she was defending Graham Platner. One of those times when you say, I'm so glad that the internet is forever.
Which is you campaigned with Graham Platner, who
This was her in April.
was ahead of that state's very pivotal Democratic primary. And I wanted to ask you about something you said. You said he's your kind of man. And
Graham Platner is Liz Warren's kind of man. It's my kind of man right there. It's my kind of man.
I've interviewed you for a long time and watched your hearings and listened to your questions. You care about character. This is a guy that had a chest tattoo with a Nazi symbol. Okay, he apologized for it. It's a guy that reportedly wrote that people concerned about rape should take some responsibility for themselves and not get so effed up that they wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to. He praised military tactics used by Hamas, reportedly, in comments online and Reddit when they were murdering Israeli soldiers. So I'm just curious why you think he's your kind of man.
So,
as you rightly point out, he has apologized.
He never apologized for anything. Never. Never. Just tell me what he apologized. What did he apologize for? He says, that's not me. That's not apologizing. I didn't know. I didn't do it. He never apologized. He's too much of a narcissist to actually sincerely apologize for anything. He's never apologized. Where? Show us the clip. Show us the clip of him apologizing.
He's out meeting with the people of Maine every single day so they can evaluate not who Graham Platner was, but who Graham Platner is today.
Who he is today is a monster. That's who he is today. He's always been a monster, always will be a monster. He's a freaking narcissistic monster.
And let me tell you exactly how that comment came to be. I was describing how I didn't know Graham Platner from anybody, and I'm reading an interview with him, and he's asked, when did you first know that the game was rigged? And he harks back to the 2008 crash.
So he's been your kind of man since 2008?
When 10 million families lost their homes, when 8 million people lost their jobs, when millions of people lost their savings, and when big banks cheated folks, when non-bank financial institutions tricked them, robbed them of their homes. And Graham Platner's answer on when he knew the game was rigged was when not one banker went to jail. And I said, that's my kind of man.
Okay, well, I dig it. Next.
What about when he was, what about in 2021 when he was forcing himself on a woman? Is still your kind of man?
To a video of.
What about for the last several years when he like basically has been going on a child's app to try and meet and meet 12-year-olds? What about that? Your kind of man?
Of a bunch of terrorists killing 5 soldiers. I don't know. I mean, you guys want to be the party of inclusivity, right?
We include the people, the dudes. We're so inclusive. We include the dudes who show up on Kick with wearing nothing but a towel. Yeah, we're very inclusive. Very, very inclusive. So inclusive.
I want to be the party that stands up for hardworking people. I want to be the party that is transformative of an economy that right now is hip deep in corruption.
No, yeah,
an economy
really.
That's
hip deep in corruption. Yeah. We don't have Biden in there more, so that's a good start.
Working for a handful of billionaires and
here we go. The billionaires all support your party.
Multi-millionaires and not working for much of anyone else. I want us to be the party that actually delivers on lowering costs and that expands opportunities.
You don't deliver on lowering costs. You jack up costs by promoting things like, I don't know, minimum wage. You promote an increase in costs when you start creating all these different grants. You promote an increase in costs when you end up giving money to funding for education, which all that does is get all these colleges to jack up their tuition rates. So yeah, you're not lowering costs, you're raising costs. You're just basically bilking the American taxpayer into paying for these costs under the guise of like, oh, we're just helping. You socialist, you sick woman.
And that's what Graham Platner wants to do. And I'm there to stand with him and to help in that fight.
Stand with him. Stand with him. Hold that woman down for him. Stand with him. Stand with him, Lizzie. Stand with him when he barges into his ex-girlfriend's house and basically you stand right by him. You stand by your man. Oh, stand by your man. Such a beautiful sentiment. Who would have thought that a white man would get so much love from the Democratic Party? JH saying, Joe, if Platner is a socialist, he just wanted to share the means of production. Women cannot produce what his male parts can. He was just trying to make the world a better place, like all socialists, by forcing the sharing onto others. Nice. And the economic policies are basically a way of assaulting whoever gets in their way. So, and the analogy is adroit. Uzelian saying, if you said someone raped and these people still support him, I tell you they aren't your friend. Friends don't support the ones who raped you. Yeah, I was going to say, kind of not your friends. Kind of not. You sort of draw the line there. Richard Parker is saying, W2F, Joe, you took up smoking meth, stream all day and night. Yeah, I know. This is rough. It is. It is. But I'm keeping the energy high. I am. I passed out for like 20 minutes after I finished that second stream this afternoon. I passed out for like 20, 25 minutes. And then I woke up and I realized I had to be somewhere at 7 o'clock. So I'm running out and then came to and basically when I went to synagogue, came running back here, set up my stream, and we're here. So we're working. Work hard for the money. Cards the mention saying the Jewish Democrats who still care about being Jewish feel politically homeless. That's the term they've used to me. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Jewish Democrats. I do want to ask you, how is Shulamis Chaya Bas Pesha? I hope that she's been improving. I hope that she's getting better. And here's the main Democratic Party talking about how they don't know what to do with Graham Platner. What should we do? Help! Help! We're being held hostage by Graham Platner.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to provide you all an update on the U.S. Senate race here in Maine. As you know, the Maine Democratic Party has been working around the clock to develop a process to replace our U.S. Senate nominee that is open, inclusive, transparent, and fair. The integrity of this process is just as important as the outcome. And we are committed to ensuring that Democrats across our state can have confidence in both. Unfortunately, Graham Platner's team has repeatedly reached out to us in an attempt to put their thumb on the scale of what this process looks like. We have repeatedly reiterated to Graham Platner's team that they have no role in determining our next Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate, nor in determining what this process looks like. We have also reiterated that Graham Platner must drop out of this race so that Democrats in Maine can focus on defeating Susan Collins this November. We look forward to making this process public as soon as Graham Platner formally withdraws from this race.
So that's the Maine Democrats. That's their official position. You see it's on their little from the Maine Democrats. That's their position. And I've got this one already. If you thought I told you that they weren't done, they weren't done with the hits keeping on coming. I told you yesterday about Miss Rackcott, former ex-girlfriend. Well, more ex-girlfriends are coming out. More of them are coming out. And they say that when Graham was with them, he would come out. He would. That's what they're saying. Against their wishes, he would come out. Graham Platner just drew another accusation. An ex-girlfriend says he removed condoms without consent. Democrats knew he couldn't win and waited to the last minute so they could replace him instead of letting Democratic primary voters pick the candidate. That's right. Hey, look, there's Kimmy. There's Kimmy. Look at that, Kimmy. I guess I'll be pulling out now. Yeah, for once I'll be pulling out. Here's CNN. As the Democrats are all circling the wagons trying to get him out of the race. CNN calling out the Democrats. For once, CNN calling out Democrats saying, what the heck are you all talking about?
There is an issue here with a lot of very prominent Democrats, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, two among them, who basically turned the other way at the first set of allegations. Why does it take a sexual assault allegation?
Right. To that point, I heard Senator Kirsten Gillibrand speak at the Aspen Institute last week.
You hear it, right? I'm not the only one who hears it. You hear it also, right? I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who hears it. You hear it also, right? I'm not the only one. You hear it, right? You do. You hear it. I'm not the only one who hears it. I mean,
allegation.
Right.
You know, I never noticed that before. She does sound like Jan Brady. Oh my gosh, I want to hear her. Now I really want to hear her say, Marsha. I never noticed that. That is such a great call. Oh, now I got to listen to her. I'm never going to get this out of my head now.
Democrats, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, two among them, who basically turned the other way at
Marsha. Janiqua. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, you guys are killing me tonight. You are killing me. Maisha. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
the first set of allegations. Why does it take a sexual assault allegation?
Let's try to focus on what the actual conversation is instead of the voices with her or Jan Brady voice and this other dude with the worst whip I've ever heard in my life. The Daffy, this other Daffy Duck dude. They call him Daffy Duck because everyone always say because he's always hearing no teeth.
Right. To that point, I heard Senator Kirsten Gillibrand speak at the Aspen Institute last week. And when Graham Platner came up, all she had to say was that he was a strong candidate and was going to, soar to a victory. There was no.
What's with these eyebrows? I'm sorry, I didn't watch this clip. I only saw the first part of Abby Phillips talking. What is happening here? What is happening? Did someone draw this on him? Is this like a cartoon of like Mr. Evil? Oh my gosh. This clip is getting better and better. Suffering succotash.
That was going to, soar to a victory. There was no even an acknowledgement of the New York Times report of the Nazi tattoo. And if you all will remember, this is the same senator who was called the Me Too senator, in part because she led the charge against Al Franken in the Senate. She very much, was instrumental in pushing that culture forward. And I think Me Too is necessary in a lot of ways.
Oh my God. I really need to get a clip of him saying necessary. Oh my gosh.
Very much, was instrumental in pushing that culture forward. And I think Me Too was necessary in a lot of ways. But we didn't need a rape allegation to know that Graham Platner had already allegedly violated the standards that she set. And she was willing to sacrifice all her principles, among many other Democrats, to go up against arguably the most moderate Republican in the Senate, Susan Collins, who's already willing to go up against Trump. This is not some super partisan person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that clip is gold. Alright, fuck that. Necessary. Susan Collins. In case you think he wasn't vetted, just understand this. In case you're asking yourself and I had a poll up as to when they should have realized that they vetted the wrong guy. This was the poll. We'll see what my poll's at so far. When I posted notice of tonight's stream, in my community, what I posted there was Democrats who vetted Platner should have realized that he might have been a poor candidate when they learned his email address was kidlover@kick.com. He asked if his interview was towel optional. He listed his next of kin as just Adolf, or he changed his rally intro song to Closer by 9 Inch Nails. I know that reference is a little bit vague, but anyway, make sure you vote. This is your chance to vote, especially if you're a Democrat, because we know your vote's not going to count anywhere else. Your vote's meaningless. No one needs your votes. Nobody needs your vote. But you want to know why they get such bad candidates? I'll tell you why. It's because who's doing the vetting? It's these two people. These are the two people vetting for the Democrats. If you thought the last voice was funny, these are the two people who are irresponsible for vetting folks like Graham Platner.
And at this point, you hadn't vetted Graham Platner. You hadn't done a full scrub of who he is. How did you go about vetting him? And why did you?
We paid.
This looks like this Sam Brinkman-Fried's girlfriend, like the Asian version of her. I don't remember what was her name. You know that weird little like 21 chromosome girl. What was her name? Someone's gonna remember her name. The one who was a girlfriend of Sam Brinkman-Fried, right? But she looks like the Asian version of that. And then you got this guy over here. These are the ones who are doing. These are the very, very special people who are doing the vetting of Graham Platner.
You go about vetting him. And why did you?
We paid. We paid a nice firm a whole chunk of money and got some stuff back. Some of what you've seen on the news we got back. Other stuff we didn't.
Did the vetting process turn up the tattoo that became so controversial?
Yes, Caroline Ellison. Thank you.
The Reddit posts, did that turn up in the vetting process?
Did it turn up the tattoo? No. Who did you hire to do this? And then you see who they are and you're like, well, okay.
The firm sent us a thing and it had some of the posts, but it didn't have all of them.
All of them? Yeah.
And what did you think about that? How did you think your way through the fact that he had posted these things on social media?
I said none of this will or should stop him from becoming a U.S. Senator.
And what was your
Clearly the
thinking
voters
there?
agree. I think if what the voters wanted were people who were grown in vats and had never done or said anything that they might regret their entire lives, we'd have a very different country. Part of our thesis here is that people do not want their candidates grown in vats. They want people who are real human beings, and they want.
This is a human voice.
want people who do not look and sound like the background people who've been leading this country off a cliff for the last century. And that was Graham.
Just days after this interview, more details about Platner's past emerged.
Surprise, surprise. I just they don't want people born in vats. Yes. So face made a face for radio and a voice for the non-talkies. Those are the leaders right there. You got this weird dude, and then you know, Giggles McGee next to him. One guy who's very upset about how things are breaking and looking for Graham Platner is of course progressive stalwart Chunk Uger. Chunk Uger not too happy with the way things are going and saying this is just it's totally an Israel thing. It's an Israel thing all over again.
I don't think that Graham Platner is literally a...
This is Sean Fitzgerald over here, if you're unfamiliar. From he calls himself Actual Justice Warrior. So that's the name of his channel. I've had the pleasure of having him on my show over here. This is Chunk Uger, and this is some other guy, Brad Palumbo, who I don't know who he is, but
neo-Nazi, or his ideology is neo-Nazi in any way today. But you can acknowledge that he did have a Nazi tattoo. He did know it was that, and he should have had it removed a long time ago. You don't?
No, I don't
that?
acknowledge any of that. And so
of course
that's
you don't.
Okay. First of all,
let him answer.
So when I first saw the tattoo, I was like, "That's a Nazi tattoo." I had no idea. So
you're ignorant, basically. You're ignorant. No one accidentally gets a Nazi tattoo. No one does that by accident, doofus. Think about how much time and care people tend to put into before they put something on their chest forever.
it's a skull and bones. I don't know what the different skull and bones stand for. Maybe Graham does, but maybe he didn't. And that is a very, very normal thing. Everybody makes it sound like it's a swastika. Everybody knows a swastika is Nazi. Random skull and bones. No, not everybody knows that.
Not everyone knows that.
And they make it seem, and why do they focus on that? Did they ask every boyfriend of Susan Collins what they've done? Did they ask the tattoos of all the establishment guys serving Israel? No, very, very.
Serving Israel. Everything's about Israel to this lunatic.
Very conveniently, the only people that they investigate and dig up. Oh, what do they have? Oh, yeah, what kind of lipstick did they use? What kind of clothes did they wear? Oh, attack, they're not for Israel, attack. And guys, you can say that that's not the case, and it's just, oh, golly gee, just happens to be against all the opponents of Israel, that the media investigates every nook and cranny of their life and attacks every lifestyle choice they've ever made, right? But you're not even going to win over your own.
Really? Does that happen to AOC? Does that happen to Rashida Tlaib? What are you talking about?
Supporters, because the right wing also agrees with me. It's obvious that they're trying to control us.
I mean, you could filibuster, but it's just a denial of reality. They went after Pete Hegseth for his Georgian cross tattoo, claiming that that was some fascist symbol when it was just a religious Christian symbol. And this guy got a token, what was it called? A Topenhof skull. And he said,
Totenkopf.
He got it in Eastern Europe. You don't go to a regular tattoo bar, a tattoo parlor, and see neo-Nazi tattoo options. This is ridiculous. He knew what he was getting. He could say that he changed. He covered the tattoo up. That's fine. But again, that's a distraction from the example that I was giving. If somebody had a fringe right-wing beliefs that you detested, but they were anti-Israel or, again, anti-corruption or honest about their beliefs, you would not support that person in office. You would call Republicans crazy and racist for nominating that individual. But again, you want to deflect from that, dodge from that, excuse this guy's tattoo. I mean, since I didn't know what it is, then therefore it's not what it is. Everybody, we can understand what this tattoo is, what context you would get something like that in. And it's not at a regular, ordinary tattoo parlor that you would find that.
That's a great point. That's a great point. You don't just find, it's not easy. It's not easy to get your hands on a Nazi tattoo. You got to shop around. You got to shop around. Thank you, stable for now, but doesn't look good. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully she has the issue. Juvenile idiot sounds like he's on Sesame Street. That whole crazy voice of his. Oh my God, that was crazy. That was insane. Platner is a World War II history buff. He knew very well. Is that really true? I'm going to ask Grok that question. I'm very curious. I don't remember seeing that, but I am going to ask Grok. Hey, Grok, is it true that Graham Platner is a World War II history buff?
Yeah, it's true. Graham Platner, the main Democratic Senate candidate and combat vet, has described himself as a military history buff with a particular interest in World War II that started in his teens. It's come up a lot in the controversy around his old chest tattoo that resembled a Nazi SS symbol. People point out that a WWD buff should have recognized the Toten Cup design sooner. He says he didn't know its meaning when he got it drunk with fellow Marines in 2007 and only learned later.
Good job, Timmy. Good on you. Bringing facts to the table. Good job. That's that. Oh, that's that. Let's hear more about this internal war. More on this internal war.
His endorsement. Chuck wants him to end it immediately. And they're even shopping for his replacement. Democrats have less than a week to find a new candidate. But the New York Times reports that Platner won't step down unless Democrats promise to replace him with someone just as radical as himself. His campaign says that's not true, but we're not sure how good their word is at this point. The party knew Platner had skeletons in his closet. His opponent was warning about him back in March.
The negatives on this guy are much more damaging. And that's why I'm trying to get people to look at the whole thing, the whole picture. I think his liabilities make him
Governor Janet Mills. Yeah, no one's listening to you, Governor Janet Mills.
much more vulnerable.
His endorsement.
Well, it's just a shame he wasn't running against someone else. So they're stuck with him against someone else. Anyhow, at least he can count on the woke right always having his back. Glenn Greenwald and Marjorie Taylor Greene. We'll have Ian Carroll on his side. Dan Bilzerian. They'll all be behind you. They'll always have your back. They'll always have your back. Candace Owens will always have your back. Graham, don't worry. Tucker Carlson will have your back, Graham. Don't worry about it. Things are good. Things are good. Just go on Tucker. Hands one pack saying male vocal fry is not very masculine. No, not at all. Uzelian saying Cenk Uygur still doesn't acknowledge the Armenian genocide. Why would anyone care about what he has to say? Yeah. Hands one saying that the tattoo was gotten because of his military squad nickname. Oh, all right. Why didn't you say that? Oh, I missed this earlier. Uzelian saying, crazy Liz Warren, you chair of the Congressional Oversight Panel overseeing the bank bailout TARP after the 2008 financial crisis. Why didn't you do something? Yeah, she was totally to blame for it. Listen to me. Like, I haven't talked about this in a long time because, frankly, this whole history of our failed economic policies from the 2000s hasn't really been relevant in conversation. But seeing as how I did play Liz Warren talking about how that was a critical juncture for her deciding that Graham Platner was her man, and Exelian sending that super chat. I'm just going to point this out, okay? The reason that we had the crisis in 2008, which ushered in 8 years of disaster under Barack Obama, was because of leftist policies that were embraced by Bush and the neocons and Hillary Clinton to guarantee that every schmuck living in this country would be able to buy a house. And that's what started the whole housing bubble and the ultimate crash. Where they started guaranteeing that we'll start doling out money to folks who are making $20,000 a year so they could buy $1 million mansions and have credit scores of like they had credit scores which were lower than their IQs, and we're just, oh, sure. Why not? Why not? Hey, you need $700,000? You got it. You got it. You get to go. So, and then all those mortgages were bundled and sold off because they had crazy high interest rates, and folks were like, "Oh wow, I can get 14%. I can get 14%. I can get 14%. And it's backed by a home. It's got secured. 14% secured. That's crazy." And not realizing that, yeah, when all of them go belly up at the same time, that's not going to work for you. That's not going to work for you. So it was Dodd-Frank, which basically Barney Frank was responsible for it, as well as Bush. I don't know if you remember, but GW, he was all about like investing billions into corn subsidies because he was trying to find alternate forms of fuel in a plan that was disastrous from the start. Guy came in there with a surplus and basically destroyed our economy, together with a lot of help from the Democrats and greedy banks. And then Barack Obama comes along and says, "Hey, why don't we bail out the banks? Yeah, that's what we should bail them out. Let's just have the American taxpayer just cover their stupid risks." Oh God, awful, stupid economic, terrible economic policy.
And
at this,
sorry, I don't need to hear that guy. Anyhow, so that's that was the economic crisis of 2008. In case you're too young to remember, so now you have my take on it. But I got more stories I need to cover for you. I got more I need to cover. I did want to say this. Somehow, yes, we've been talking over the last week or so about Mitch McConnell's mysterious disappearance from public life. Apparently, everyone's been talking to Mitch McConnell over the last day. He's had the same conversation with multiple people. I love Scott Jennings as much as you do. I don't know what the heck is going on when Scott Jennings is going on with this whole thing, claiming that he's been talking to Mitch McConnell. Now, he's from Kentucky, Scott Jennings. I think. Pretty sure he's from Kentucky. And he's one of several people who say, "I spoke to my old friend Mitch McConnell this morning, the senior senator from Kentucky." Scott, don't break my heart, Scott. Don't break my heart. Still recovering in the hospital. We talked for just shy of 20 minutes about Iran, Ukraine, the unfolding situation in Maine, my visit to the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library, and even a little bit of Senate history. I told him we want to see him back at work as soon as possible. I don't know, Scott. I don't know. I got a feeling. I have questions. Scott. He's not the only one who spoke to him, apparently. And you can see, by the way, one of the rare times you see Scott Jennings getting totally ratioed, 30,000 comments to 14,000 likes. I'm kind of with Cenk Uygur here and not really trusting him. Did he say anything back? I also spoke to Mitch McConnell this morning. Oh my God, that's great. That is great. That's really funny. Oh my God. Scott's conversation with Mitch McConnell. Sarah Longwell. See, normally he's great. He's great normally, but this one, Scott, I don't know, Scott. I don't want to see more from this author. I just want to see more comments. Why can't I see more comments? The comments were great. I don't want my own comment. You see, I don't know why are you doing this to me? But apparently multiple people are saying that they spoke to Mitch McConnell. Look at this. How is this possible? Representative Jack Kimball. I spoke to my old friend Mitch McConnell this morning, the senior senator from Kentucky. He's still recovering in the hospital. We talked just shy of 45 minutes. He's so sharp. Just like always, he let me do all of the talking. He's a great listener. After I'm sure you did all of the talking. I am 100% sure that when you spent 45 minutes on the phone with Mitch McConnell, you did 100% of the talking. Just like always, he let me do all the talking. Oh my God. Yeah. All these people spoke to him today. He spent so much time on the phone.
We get him on the phone now. Do you think he'd be willing to call into the show? Could we get him on the phone now?
I wasn't really expecting him to call this morning, to be honest. So when the phone rang and I was able to talk to him, I was frankly pretty grateful. I mean, as I said, I've known him since I was a teenager. If it hadn't been for Mitch McConnell and the McConnell Center at the University of Louisville, I would never have been able to go to college. He's
from Kentucky,
and he changed the trajectory of my life. So when things happen to him and happen to people in your life that you really care about, you just sort of naturally feel extremely worried. So when I heard his voice today and he was clearly keeping up with stuff, that made me happy to hear from him, because like everybody else, I've been somewhat in the dark about it. But to hear him talking and to know that he's also talking to the Senate leadership, it made me pretty happy.
The MAGA media ecosphere, shall we say, has been driving a lot of the questions about where Mitch McConnell has been and what has happened to him. You, of course, are in tune with that in the role you have on your radio show. Do you think they should put out a picture of Mitch McConnell, that he should release more to the public to quiet this noise?
Yeah, I think Al had a good point about McConnell's general disposition towards privacy. I sometimes wonder, like, if I were laying in a hospital bed, would I want a bunch of people around photographing me? Probably not, particularly if I were an 84-year-old person who's normally a private.
Yeah. He doesn't want people to get an image of him looking anything less than spectacularly pretty. Obviously, you don't want that floating around the internet.
About his health, probably not. But I take the criticism. I think it's a fair question about transparency. I think it's a fair question about whether they've done enough. But ultimately, these office holders, they're in charge of their own operations. And it may be somebody around him says, let's put out a picture, and he doesn't want to do it. I think that's a fair observation from Al. But all I can tell you today is all the rumors about him being dead or brain dead, or his body's being hidden somewhere. I've seen all kinds of crazy things on the internet. That's obviously not true, because he picked up the phone and called me, and that was a good thing.
Well, let him know. Our phone lines are open here at the arena.
Yeah. I don't think he's calling anywhere soon, and I don't believe you, Scott. I'm sorry. I don't believe you for a second. What's interesting? A Ouija board and an auto pen. An auto pen, you know what it's going to say, I guess. A Ouija board, you don't know which way it's going to get pushed. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. A long day. A long, long day. Joey's been working hard today. Cool Frog, how much was Scott paid to cover this up? Probably very handsomely. Probably very handsomely. I'm with you, Cool Frog. I don't believe it. I don't believe he spoke to him. Let's see who else spoke to him. Everyone said they spoke to him. That's why I put in here, spoke to McConnell, doing a search for that, because I knew there was, I think there's at least 3 people who said it today.
On the McConnell thing, I also don't buy this either. If Scott Jennings and Thune and everybody else could have a 20-minute phone call with Mitch McConnell, he should be able to shoot a 60-second proof of life video to show us that he's okay. I think they know the deadline for a special election is August 3rd. If he's dead or if he's on a ventilator, if he's not able to do his job, he should resign right now. They should have a special election.
So, okay, but
on the McConnell thing.
Yep. For once, I actually agree with Midas Touch, which is the wokest of the woke lefties. Not quite as woke as the woke right, but the individuals releasing statements saying that they spoke with McConnell all say they spoke with him for about 20 minutes. Nathaniel Reed from Reed Reports. Sam Barrasso and McConnell had a lengthy conversation earlier this afternoon. Their phone call lasted roughly 20 minutes. Fully engaged and you get back to the Senate. Laura Loomer saying, I just got off the phone with Mitch McConnell. We spoke for nearly 20 minutes about why the GOP is full of cowards who refuse to pass the Save America Act. I asked him why his wife flew to China after he was given CPR and found unconscious. We spoke about how the spirit animal is a turtle and the meaning behind his wife's name, Coco Chow. We laughed and talked about how, thanks to his feckless leadership for decades, Muslims and communists are now taking America. He was in good spirits and laughing when I asked him if he's happy his proposed SCOTUS nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, just made our country a dumping ground for every third world pregnant illegal alien. I made sure he knew we would make sure his tombstone says, effing Trump in America every day, a long life lived with no regrets or remorse. His funeral will be like every other day in America. Maybe some GOP senators will carry his casket to his grave so they can let Mitch down the way he has let our country and Donald Trump down every single day of his life. I told him, we know he won't be coming back to work. Thomas Massey, I spoke to McConnell for about 20 minutes this morning. He said we should end the war with Iran, quit giving aid to Israel, stop spying Americans without a warrant. And he's really sorry about how my primary turned out. And I spoke to Mitch McConnell today for 20 minutes. He apologized for not convicting Trump. Benny Johnson, guys, calm down. I just had a nearly 20-minute phone call with Mitch McConnell today. He told me, dear God, please let me live so I can F over Trump and Republicans just one last time, just one more aid package to Ukraine. Then he started mumbling in Mandarin. I told him his wife was in China. Then I asked for a pic to prove everything was all right there. Here we go. Sorry. Desiree Townsend, who's the one who's been on top of this story, says this is the problem. No one has spoken to him for weeks, but the moment Elaine Chao touches down U.S. less than 48 hours ago, now all of a sudden, multiple canned messages with everyone saying they spoke to him for 20 minutes. If he's conscious and capable of having these conversations, then he can call in and talk to News Network, but somebody's declining these requests. Richard Nixon called me today. He spoke for about 20 minutes. He was in good spirits. Scott. Anyhow, so yeah, I just thought I'd alert you in case you hadn't been aware of that development, of all the claims going around that he's been on the phone with people. I also want to tell you some good news. We're going to be having election monitoring going on soon. Oh wait, we got more of these. I got more of these. Has anyone actually gone to visit him? This is how they're trying to get ahead of it. No, what they're going to do is all of a sudden we're going to be hearing at some point in the future about a terrible downturn that he took. Surprise, surprise, and oh my God, he's dead now and cremated. Here are his remains. He's dead, and the family is very private. You know, the family is very private. The family is very, very private. So they didn't want to have any elaborate ceremony because he's so humble. He's so humble, and they're very, very private families. They decided to cremate his remains and appreciate all the well wishes from his millions of supporters. Turner saying, I'm a bit rusty in my 13th century Japanese politics, but it's the undersecretary to the regents, the retired emperor, who's actually supposed to be in charge, right? I don't know who's supposed to be in charge. I don't know who's supposed to be in charge. But yeah. Mitch is on the roof. Scott Adams joke. I'm not familiar with that particular thing. Uzelian says, Joe, I spent an hour with my friend Mitch today and took this video. He's doing amazing. Now let's see this video that Uzelian took. Oh, look, he is doing amazing. That's great. I'm so happy that Mitch McConnell is doing just fine. Here's Mitch McConnell. He's doing much, much better. You look so good. You look so good, Mitch. You look so good. Oh my God. You look so good. I never thought for a second. Who knew? Thank you, Uzelian. You see? Uzelian's keeping on top of things, making sure that making sure it's okay. Hands one saying, did you see former Florida governor candidate Andrew Gillum back in jail? He lost his DeSantis and went on a rager like Hunter in a hotel. I did see that. I was like, is that the dude who was like coked out of his mind in a hotel? I saw the name Andrew Gillum and I sort of flew past the story. But it's the sort of story which if I check my email, I'll bet anything that Jim Satala sent me something on it, because it's exactly the sort of story that he'll send me. He's great. I love Jim. Let's do a search. Ah, see, look at this. I just started searching for the term guilt. And there you go. There you go. Look at this. See? Oh, story number 9 from today from Jim. Dude is so reliable. Make sure you sub up to Jim when Jim tells you. So he's got new drug charges. No one cares about Andrew Gillum. No one cares. So, DOJ reportedly warns state election officials they could face criminal prosecution if non-citizen ballots are counted in upcoming elections. What's this? What's this? The DOJ Civil Rights Division is surging election monitors to polling locations in Detroit, Michigan for the upcoming 2026 elections. Great, secure elections are essential. Lansing and East Lansing will also see election monitors for the coming primary per Detroit News. The Democrat Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson and State AG are furious. Of course they are. And I'm sure that Gretchen Whitmer ain't too pleased either. What's there to hide? Prevent fraud and cheating at all costs and pass the Save America Act. Amen.
Ever before. America is back, and we want to keep America great, and we will do so by approving the Save America Act.
We can only pray. We can only pray that that's true. I don't know if that's going to happen soon. I hope so. I hope so. Here's Harmeet Dillon talking about her efforts to make sure that she keeps our elections with proper integrity.
In 2026, in this upcoming primary season, the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, as it has done for decades, is this year sending election monitors into 15 different jurisdictions in 6 states. And those states are Arizona, Michigan, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Virginia. And we're sending the monitors into cities and counties where there may have been some problems in the recent elections. And so this is something that
Get him, Harmeet. Get him, Harmeet.
So for example, in 2022, in the primary season, there were 9 jurisdictions in which the prior administration sent election monitors during primaries. In 2024, similarly, there were in that election 27 different jurisdictions monitored by the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. So this year we're kind of in the middle of that with our 15. And what we hope to do here is increase voter confidence, make sure there are no language barriers or access to voting for Americans with disabilities, or sort of failure to make sure that the polling places are open correctly for the amount of time necessary, and that everyone
I like
has
Harmeet too.
appropriate access to vote who should be allowed.
I guarantee you, Harmeet's not going to tell you that she spent 20 minutes on the phone with Mitch McConnell today.
To vote. So this is an important goal that increases voter confidence. And it's also important to make sure that our voting is accurate so that every citizen who votes has their vote counted equally without being canceled out by somebody who shouldn't be voting. Now, unfortunately, in taking Michigan as an example, we've gotten some attacks from leaders over there, the Attorney General and the governor. They don't like the fact that we're doing this, but to be clear, both Republican and Democrat administrations have sent monitors to Michigan and these other jurisdictions in the past. I think it's a great exercise of our oversight duty and our enforcement duty to enforce the Help America Vote Act, National Voter Registration Act, the Voting Rights Act, a very important statute, and other civil rights statutes like the Civil Rights Act of 1960. So I'm proud to be helping organize this effort and send those monitors to help increase all citizens' confidence in the outcome of our election.
Amen. Go get him. Go get him,
we
Harmeet.
Get towards the general election where there'll be an even more expanded program for vote monitors, as DOJ has done for decades in our great nation. Thank you.
And she keeps repeating, like, you're going to say that it's just Trump doing it. And when you hear the left whining that this is Trump trying to interfere, just understand that this is what the DOJ has always done, did under Biden, and we're doing the same thing. So stop your whining. Stop your whining. Just because you're not excited about Trump coming to visit, because this is what the DOJ does. That's what we do. So she knows about the whining that's coming. Of course, and like night follows day, here's the left whining. Christopher Webb. This should alarm everyone. Trump's DOJ is sending election monitors to Detroit, Lansing, and East Lansing for Michigan's August 4th primary. This is how doubt gets manufactured. This is how confidence in free and fair elections gets chipped away. The real target isn't just election, it's public trust in blue cities.
Justice Department is planning to send election monitors to 3 cities in the battleground state of Michigan ahead of its August primary votes. The cities of Detroit, East Lansing, and Lansing, all 3 Democratic strongholds. received letters from the federal agency in recent weeks. Lansing and East Lansing are located in a swing district, which Republican Congressman Tom Barrett currently represents and now is seeking a second term. One of the letters from the DOJ claimed there were several problems with the 2024 elections in Lansing. They say officials did not use a statewide voter registration list, and there were long lines.
And we should anticipate that there's going to be a TRO to stop them from going into Michigan. Some woke judge is going to sign off on the TRO. They're going to appeal it. We'll see what's it there? It's the 7th district, I think, is Michigan. The 7th Circuit can go either way on it. Then it'll go to SCOTUS. And on this one, we can expect that SCOTUS will go along with Trump on this particular issue because historically, this is what's been happening for the last several decades. And they're going to say, this is not a new thing. This is what the DOJ has always done. And SCOTUS is going to say, shame on you, Circuit Court. You should have realized that no TRO should have been granted here. This is how this whole thing is going to play out. So you're welcome for me walking you through the next 3 months, no, the next 8 weeks of litigation on this on an emergency basis that will be coming. You're going to see some woke judge from Eastern District of Michigan coming out there and stopping and putting a TRO saying, no, you can't send election monitors. States are able to run their own thing, and issuing a TRO. You're going to see the circuit court do whatever they do. They can really flip a coin and go either direction on it. And then you're going to see the Supreme Court stand with the DOJ on this particular issue, because the establishment members of SCOTUS who control every decision that comes out of SCOTUS, they're going to say, well, this is what's been done, so let's continue doing what's been done. And Trump is allowed to do this because that's what's always been done. So since it's always been done, he can keep doing it. That's how this whole thing is going to play out. My prediction. That's my prediction on how this whole thing plays out ultimately. Moderna is making predictions too. In less than 10 years, Democrats will demand audio ballots for people who ain't read. Possibly true. Possibly true.
Lines and lengthy waiting periods, but officials in Lansing say none of that's true. This marks an escalation in the Trump administration's attempts to scrutinize voting in Michigan, which President Trump long has said is a rigged state, without offering any evidence to support that claim. An appeals court has
without offering any evidence to support. What about the fact that they put up cardboard to block people from watching the folks stealing the election? What about the fact that you have like a 99% vote tally for Joe Biden and hundreds of thousands of ballots? What about that? Far exceeding any other mail-in ballot dump in the middle of the freaking night. No evidence.
Denied the DOJ a copy of Michigan's registered voting list. In response to the DOJ, Democratic Attorney General Dana Nessel wrote, quote, "The courts have been clear time and time again. States run elections, not the federal government."
What did I tell you? I didn't even see this report yet. I told you this is what's going to happen. That's what they're going to say. The Constitution says states run it. Yeah, that's nice.
Government. She went on to explain federal monitors are allowed to observe as per law, but that her office stands ready to hold accountable those who attempt to unlawfully interfere with or intimidate Michigan election workers. The president has the Department of Justice happy to do his bidding. He says the elections have been stolen from him over the last several years. They have not been.
Idiot.
He wants close eyes on places where Democrats might win.
Well, and this is
It's a primary. I guarantee you a Democrat's going to win, doofus. It's a primary. Oh, my God. He wants to keep a close eye on places where Democrats might win. Some Democrat might win the Democratic primary. Idiots.
Another escalation when Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, she did not, and she's running for the Democratic nomination for governor, she wouldn't release those voter rolls. And so this may go as high as the Supreme Court. And the idea, the strategy behind this is to create legal obstacles on the way and to scatter the brains of voters so that they don't know what is accurate and what's happening. And
how is that scattering the brains of voters? You go out there and vote for the person you want.
Cast doubt over what's going down in these places. And so we'll see.
Literally, we had way more than this in 2024 when Biden was running the DOJ under Merrick Garland.
What lands in court during election season and how that plays in public and voter opinion.
Yeah, well, I already told you how it's going to play in court. So someone timestamp when I said it, the day I said it was July 7th. Well, technically July 8th, but the show that I created on July 7th, it probably reflects as being on July 8th because it's July 8th here as of 20 minutes ago. But 12:20 a.m. July 8th is when I basically told you how this entire thing will play out in court. With ultimately that on the lowest level, there's going to be a TRO stopping Trump from doing this, and the highest level, Supreme Court's going to side with the Trump administration on this particular issue. I'm just telling you. I could be wrong. It's possible I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But they're all screaming. The left is screaming bloody murder. Red flag. Red flag. Oh no. Trump's Justice Department has informed Michigan it intends to send election monitors to 3 cities in the state for the August 4th primary. Oh, he's trying to stop a Democrat from winning the Democratic primary. What? No, he wants to make sure Jocelyn Benson isn't stealing the election for her, isn't stealing the Democratic nomination. That's what's happening. In case you're wondering why Michigan, why do you care about a primary? It's because he wants to make sure that Jocelyn Benson, who is overseeing it as Secretary of State, doesn't hand herself a victory in the gubernatorial race, that she becomes the Democratic nominee. That's what's happening here. But folks like that clown over here, this doofus over here saying, oh, he wants to make sure that a Democrat doesn't win the Democratic primary. No, he wants the right Democrat to win. That's what he wants. And maybe she'll win. I don't know. She's got a bigger name probably than anyone who's running against her. Trying to keep a Democrat from winning the Democratic nomination. This is the audience they're talking to. I guess they figure if we can gaslight you that nothing went wrong in 2020, we can gaslight you that Trump's trying to keep a Democrat from winning the Democratic primary. Idiots. Detroit News saying that President Donald Trump's DOJ has informed Michigan officials it intends to send election monitors to 3 cities in the battleground state for the August 4th primary. Letters from the federal department about the plans have mentioned Detroit, Lansing, East Lansing, said 2 sources who had knowledge of the messages but spoke on the condition of anonymity. And I will remind you that in some precincts in Detroit, they had 102% turnout ratio. That's another thing which you might think is a little sus. How do you have more people voting than folks living there? Detroit News obtained a copy of the letter that was sent directly to Chris Swope, Lansing's city clerk. Quote, as part of our assessment of your administration of the federal primary election, we plan to have election monitors at your 2026 primary election, wrote Timothy Mellett, deputy chief of the DOJ's voting section. We will contact you a week prior to election monitoring to discuss the particulars of the monitoring efforts. All 3 cities are Democratic strongholds. Detroit is Michigan's largest city. Lansing and East Lansing, that's where they do most of their thievery. They also do some thievery in Lansing and East Lansing, which is home to Michigan State University, are located at the swing 7th U.S. House District, where Republican U.S. Representative Tom Barrett of Charlotte is seeking his 2nd term in November, but faces no primary opponent. The letters from the DOJ were delivered in recent weeks and marked an escalation of the Trump administration's bid to scrutinize voting in Michigan. Trump's DOJ has already sought a complete copy of Michigan's registered voting list, to which they basically told Trump no. Kirsten Pell, a spokeswoman for the DOJ, confirmed the plans for election monitors Monday evening, saying the 3 cities have received Civil Rights Division monitors in past elections under previous administrations. In response to the letters, Attorney General Dana Nessel, a Democrat, Michigan's top law enforcement official, said Monday evening the courts have made clear time and again that states run elections, not the federal government. Yeah, okay. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, also a Democrat, added that her department welcomes anyone who wants to, in compliance with the law, observe Michigan's election process, despite what she called the Justice Department's baseless allegations to confuse voters about Michigan's secure, transparent, and fair elections. This is the woman who, these are the folks who decided to try and prosecute folks for transparently submitting an alternate slate of electors in 2020. Did they win in that prosecution? I don't remember what happened to that. I forgot what happened. Did they get convictions there? I am curious about that now. Those scummy people. Gruck, those folks who were prosecuted in Michigan for submitting an alternate slate of electors, whatever happened to those charges?
The charges against those 16 Michigan Republicans were dismissed in September 2025. A judge ruled there wasn't enough evidence they had criminal intent when they signed the alternate elector documents. Michigan AG Dana Nessel
Totally the
decided
right
not to
decision.
appeal the dismissal earlier this year, calling the case too resource-heavy and unlikely to succeed. She issued a report slamming the scheme, but said it wasn't right to keep going after the lower-level folks. Trump also issued pardons for them in late 2025, though that was more symbolic since the state charges were already dead. Case is fully closed now.
Oh, well, good for them. I'm glad that they don't have to deal with that. The final story I want to cover with you tonight is the war on birthright citizenship, and specifically birther tourism. Birth tourism. So I got a whole bunch of links here because there's a whole bunch of different ways that folks are trying to fight birth tourism. A whole bunch of different ways. We'll start with Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott said Texas will not permit the exploitation of its healthcare system or its citizenship laws. Governor Greg Abbott today directed the Texas Health and Human Services Commission to investigate birth tourism packages to foreign nationals, saying, quote, birth tourism is an illegal practice that exploits the extraordinary hospitality that the United States and Texas offer to millions of foreign travelers each year. Thousands of foreign travelers come to the United States under false pretenses to give birth and secure citizenship for their children. HHSC must investigate the hospital and facility it regulates for any violations of state law and contractual obligations. So he's focusing his attention there, Greg Abbott. I don't remember if I actually slotted these in a particular order. So let me just spend 30 seconds trying to do a little organization here. Okay. This is there. Over here. Definitely this here. Here's the letter that he wrote. Come on. Open up. Really? There it is. From Governor Greg Abbott. Dear Executive Commissioner Muth, something. I'm not sure the exact name. It's its name. It has to be read by that guy who appeared with Abby Phillips. Dear Executive Muth, today I direct you to immediately investigate reports that Mission Regional Medical Center, a hospital facility regulated by the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, is advertising birth packages in South Texas in foreign countries and targeting such advertisements to foreign nationals in an apparent effort to profit from securing United States citizenship for the children. Birth tourism is an illegal practice that exploits the extraordinary hospitality the United States and Texas offers to millions of foreign travelers each year. Unfortunately, thousands of foreign travelers come to the United States under false pretenses to give birth to secure citizenship for their children. As governor of Texas, I will do everything in my power to assist federal officials to stop this fraudulent practice. Therefore, I direct HHSC to immediately and through investigative Mission Regional Medical Center and thoroughly, immediately and thoroughly investigate Mission Region Medical Center for any violations of state law and contractual obligations. Any violations will immediately be referred to the Attorney General for civil enforcement and the appropriate district or county attorney for criminal prosecution. Good on you, Greg. Good on you indeed. Additionally, HHSC shall take appropriate administrative actions against Mission Regional Medical Center, including but not limited to assessing sanctions and penalties. American citizenship is not for sale, and Texas will not permit our healthcare system to be used as a magnet for birth tourism. I will also work with the Texas legislature next session to strengthen state law and eliminate birth tourism in Texas. So that's a letter that came. That was the letter that he sent. Here's some of their advertisements. Mission Regional Medical Center in Spanish, havemybabyintexas.com. Should we check out that site? We should check out that site, right? Havemybabyintexas.com. Oh, we're totally going to check that out in a moment. The ads promise citizenship. Reportedly open and advertising $5,000 birth packages to foreigners in Latin America so their kids can be born a U.S. citizen in Texas. Havemybabyintexas.com. Oh, we're totally going to check that. Maybe I want to have my baby in Texas. Let's see if it's still open. Let's see if they're still open for business. I don't know. Doesn't look like it's working. It looks like they might have shut down the website. Yeah, I don't think it's working. Maybe I need to put Texas in all caps. I spelled it right. Yeah, so that, thank God that website's been shut down. We know we need to go hard after these people. Brian Harrison reported here. He shot out that same letter, but that wasn't what I wanted to bring up here. This was Representative Keith Self. Where is that thing though? I'm missing. Hold on a second. There was another thing I had questions about. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. I was right. It was Brian Harrison. Brian Harrison saying, I'm calling on Texas Department of State Health Services to immediately stop issuing birth certificates to non-citizens using their existing authorities. Wait. What? Now, this guy, Brian Harrison, is a Texas state representative from HD 10. So he's elected official in the state of Texas. Texans deserve action. I like the thought process. So I like the motivating thought process. I'm just not sure about the execution. Texans deserve action, not complacency, to protect liberty and the value of American citizenship. I also continue asking Greg Abbott to call a special session to criminalize birth tourism. Full letter. Last week, the United States Supreme Court ruling on birthright citizenship in Trump v. Barbara has potentially devastating ramifications for Texas, which has well-documented birth tourism companies which recruit persons from foreign countries like China. Additionally, Texas was also invaded by millions of illegal immigrants during the Biden administration. We know these aliens include violent murderers, terrorists, and drug cartel members. Due to the absurd reasoning of the Supreme Court's majority ruling, children born in Texas to these illegals will be eligible for state welfare programs, eventually able to vote in our elections and afforded citizenship, even if they literally never set foot on Texas or American soil and are flown home hours or days after birth. Texans deserve action, not just rhetoric from their state leaders. We must start acting like the sovereign state we are and stop taking it on the chin when actions from D.C. threaten to destroy the very fabric of our republic. The Texas government must not simply act like powerless bystander, but take bold and decisive action to protect liberty for future generations. While I'm calling for a special session to take legislative action, such as making birth tourism a felony under current law, you have broad authority right now to determine who's properly qualified to receive a certified birth certificate. You do? You do? Really? Is that so? Do you? But do you? Can you really deny someone who's by law an actual citizen? Deny them a birth certificate? Can you? I'm writing to require what steps the Department of State Health Services has taken to designate parents who are participating in birth tourism and who are not citizens and not properly qualified to receive birth certificates for their children, and to deny them birth certificates. The lawyer in me, like, look, the patriot in me says, "Love you, brother." The lawyer in me says, "What? wait, what?" I don't know. That's going to hold up in court. If no such action is occurring, then please consider this my formal request to immediately take all necessary action to stop issuing birth certificates to non-citizens. The problem is the Supreme Court said they are citizens. That's precisely the problem. Thank you for your attention to this important matter. I look forward to working with you on it. For liberty, Brian Harrison. I don't think that this works. I don't think you can do this. I think that you might try to do it, and then they're going to go to court, and you're going to lose. Because ultimately, the Supreme Court will be like, we said they're citizens. You can't deny an American citizen a birth certificate. So I don't know if this is going to work. I don't. Do you think this is going to work? I don't see how this is going to work. There's definitely going to be legal action if you try doing such a thing. And when that legal action comes, they're going to be waving Trump v. Barbara and saying we're American citizens. How do you not give us birth certificates? And then what are you going to say back? Well, we don't like you. We don't like what SCOTUS said. Okay. I don't like what SCOTUS said either. I think SCOTUS logic was terrible, awful, disastrous, illogical, silly, purposefully designed to reach a particular outcome, and whatever other negative things you might want to employ. But it still is the law. Alas, it is the law. So how are you going to deny them a birth certificate? This is the sort of thing which just reads to me like someone who's looking to show you how based he is and offering solutions and suggestions. And when you think it through for like 12 seconds, you're like, that ain't going to work. There might be other things you can do, but this one ain't going to work. I feel like it's designed to charge up the MAGA base and say, yeah, no birth certificates for those freaking illegal aliens. And then what do you do when the Supreme Court says you have to issue it to them? Which, dollars to donuts, they will. Dollars to donuts, they will. 6 justices are going to say you have to do it. Frankly, you might even get 9 justices. Because even Clarence Thomas, if this case came, they start denying birth certificates. In this case comes Clarence Thomas, really good chance Clarence Thomas says, SCOTUS decided this case poorly, but you can't just take the law into your own hands and deny them a birth certificate. So, although frankly, I don't think it would get to SCOTUS. But I think what would happen is, I think the Fifth Circuit, I think it would go to a district court. District court would issue a TRO against the state. And then the Fifth Circuit would affirm and say, you got to issue birth certificates. And then they would try to go to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS would deny cert, seeing that this Fifth Circuit upheld their decision. That's almost certainly what would happen. So I don't expect this to play out. You can make it a felony. I'm totally fine with that, to engage in birth tourism in Texas. I think that makes sense. Make it a felony. Okay. Make it a very serious felony. Make it 20 years. Make sure no one wants to dance that way. But as far as denying the birth certificates, I don't see how that's going to hold up. Maybe I'm missing something, but I can't come up with a theory that you're going to be able to do that. Here's Representative Keith Self, who's a federal congressman from the House from the 3rd District of Texas. And he has thoughts about what the Supreme Court did here last week.
But we need to make every effort because this was a disastrous decision for the United States of America. There is no way you read this. This is a real head scratcher. I mean, Clarence Thomas said there is no way you read this into the language. So how did they make this decision? Now, we do need to do a couple of things. Define jurisdiction in the Congress. And 2, we need to start clamping down on this birth tourism. We have got to go to the extent that if you are a foreigner and you are pregnant, you can't come to America because we have got to stop this any way we can in law, because this is disastrous. We got well over 1 million Chinese young men and women in China today that can come back and run for president as soon as they hit the age limit, 35. This is a disastrous decision, but we need.
Yeah, and it's nice, and we all agree with you, but that just doesn't change that they made that decision. I don't see how this is going to work. What did Trump say on this?
I think, but we'll take care of the birthright citizenship because that was not meant for rich people from other countries. That was meant for, actually, it was meant for the babies of slaves. If you look at it, it was a month after the Civil War ended that it went through. That's because it was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for rich people from China. They came over in Gulf Streams. It was meant for the babies.
Well, that's a long way from actually getting done, unfortunately. He's done everything he can. He's done everything he can. And then we have Marsha Blackburn promoting a bill targeting birth tourism after the Supreme Court ruling. So, Marsha Blackburn, senator from Tennessee, who's pretty based. She's one of the better senators. Following last week, U.S. Supreme Court ruling upholding birthright citizenship, U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn promoted legislation she introduced in May of 2025 aimed at restricting what she called birth tourism, according to news release from her office. The proposed legislation, titled the Ban Birth Tourism Act, would amend the Immigration and Nationality Act to prohibit foreign nationals from obtaining non-immigrant visas for the primary purpose of giving birth in the United States so that their children acquire U.S. citizenship at birth. Blackburn said the measure is intended to address what she described as the exploitation of U.S. immigration law. Quote, the industry built on this abuse of our laws, birth tourism, rakes in millions of dollars while catering to wealthy Russian, Chinese, and other foreign nationals. Blackburn's office said the release, according to one estimate, 33,000 children are born each year to women on tourist visas. Under current law, each is entitled to U.S. citizenship. The legislation includes an exception for individuals seeking legitimate medical care related to childbirth, providing that obtaining U.S. citizenship for the child is not the primary reason for their travel. The bill does not specify how immigration officials would determine whether an applicant's primary purpose for entering the United States is to obtain medical care or to secure birthright citizenship. Frankly, if they're coming here for medical care, I still don't care. I would say no. Who cares? Who cares? It's not our job to be the hospital for the world. It's ridiculous. Who cares? This is GOP being too nice. I don't care. Do you care? I'm sorry. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. Okay? I'm going to say it. I said it before. I say it again. We need to ban every woman between the age of 10 and 50 unless they sign a waiver saying that their children cannot become citizens. Deport every single female who's not an American citizen between 10 and 50. And you basically say, here. Frankly, we should deport all of them anyway. But deny visas to any female between the age of 10 and 50. Deny any visas to a woman between the age of 10 and 50 unless she waives any right to claim citizenship, American citizenship, for any child she has while on our soil. Until such time as she herself becomes an American citizen. Until if and when she herself becomes an American citizen. It's really that simple. It's that simple. And that for purposes of their visit, they will be deemed an American dignitary, an American foreign minister, in only one respect, and that is with respect to any child that comes out of their womb while they're not yet an American citizen. Trump called on Congress to pass legislation in the wake of his loss in the High Court's June 27th ruling. Other Tennessee Republicans followed Blackburn's proposed bill by proposing further legislation related to birthright citizenship. Ogles introduced the Anchors Away Act, which would amend the Immigration Nationality Act's definition of who's subject to jurisdiction in the United States for purposes of birthright citizenship. Under the proposal, a child born in the United States would automatically receive citizenship only if at least one parent is a U.S. citizen, a lawful permanent resident, or an active duty member of the U.S. Armed Forces. Unlike Ogles' proposal, which seeks to change how federal law defines eligibility for birthright citizenship, Blackburn's bill focuses on restricting the use of temporary visas by individuals traveling to the United States for the primary purpose of giving birth. This is too soft. I know she's trying, and I appreciate that she's trying, but it's too soft. It's too soft. Sadly, we have a Congress which seems ill-equipped or does not seem to have the proper objectives in mind. They all got upset on June 27th and then seemed to forget about it 10 minutes later, but this is something we cannot rest on. This is something we need to keep pounding and pounding and pounding on. It's a developing problem which is not going away. Can you do a show to dispute the claim by Candace Owens that Jews invented the dinosaurs? I'll see if I can work that into my busy schedule. You know, I'm live streaming, in case you missed it. I've been live streaming, started today, the preliminary hearing from I've been live streaming the preliminary hearing from the Tyler Robinson trial. So that's 2 streams I've been doing, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And I plan on doing that, God willing, tomorrow also. I plan on continuing with that tomorrow. So make sure you'll get your notifications at goodlogic.locals.com so you know when and where to find me. Also, I should remind you all, it's here somewhere. Where are you? Where are you? Well, let's see. Okay, I'm being silly. I'm being dumb. I want to remind you all that this week only, I have a 25% sale going on in my merch store. If you use the code USA250 in honor of our 250th anniversary, Declaration of Independence, that everything is 25% off. You can get yourself a Murica glass. That's right. Or an official Good Logic hat. You can get yourself a hoodie, the sweatsuit bundle, not at all really a tracksuit, not totally not a tracksuit. And yeah, t-shirts, mugs, cups, all that other good stuff. All that other good stuff. This one's my favorite, I think. I really like this one. I'm very proud of this one. I didn't design this. My store manager designed this, but excellent work. Excellent work. Joe is not the leader. Comes 11 ounce, comes in 15 ounce, whatever works for you. And now, this week only, 25% off with discount code USA250. So why wouldn't you do it? It's a mug for $12, right? 16 minus 25%. So my quick math says $12. Why wouldn't you? Who wouldn't? So make sure you check that out. The link is in the description. Is it pinned in the chat? I don't know if it's pinned in the chat. It should be pinned in the chat. That's something I should be doing. I will pin in the chat now. Can't stop me. That wasn't it. What the heck is that? By the time you hear this, it'll be pinned in the chat. So now it's pinned. And let me see what else I got going on here. Was there anything else I had going on? States could require registration with the State Defense Force in order to receive a birth certificate. Wouldn't stop anyone from getting a certificate, but might scare off birth tourists. It could, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. The solution: grant a temporary visa for any unborn child as an ambassador of cultural exchange from the parent's home country. Therefore, the mom's womb is foreign territory. When they pop out on American soil, then what? What do you do with that? What do you do with that? You sent me Colbert's post taking Candace down? You sent me Colbert's post taking Candace down?
List. In response,
I didn't do that. What'd you send me? Is what you sent me. Is what you sent me. Candace Owens said, first it was Charlie never spoke to her. He was afraid. Now it's okay they spoke and texted off him, but Charlie was being fake and trying to placate her. And she probably would pronounce that placate. Or so to be clear, Charlie sent me pictures of him and his son and daughter in the hospital after birth because he was looking for things to placate me on, or just generally texting me when he was worried because Erica was rushed into the hospital in February 2024 due to a preterm labor scare, which wound up being okay, gratefully. Should be thankfully. All that personal stuff to simply placate me. You're a clown. You tried but completely failed to accomplish anything today beyond exposing yourself as a routine liar who gleefully perverts Charlie's legacy to serve your own financial interests. Charlie and me were always friends, and we never stopped speaking, and we always had each other's backs. You're powerless to undo that. Yeah, okay. So his response to that was, well, you're always friends? Always? Are you sure you want to go with that, Candace? You want to tell everyone about your friendly exit from Turning Point back in 2019, or should I? Or should we just go back to how you weren't friends with CK at the end and have zero proof that for any of your idiotic theories? Your narcissism and selfishness over the years has given me plenty to talk about. Well, I think we need more than that. I need more than that. Was there more than that? I need more. I need more. Give me the popcorn. Doesn't the foreign territory follow the ambassador? Yeah, but when she pops out, I don't think it would work. I think it's creative. I grant you that I don't think that would work. I just don't think it would work. Maybe. It's calling a womb territory. It's novel. It's creative. It's and maybe with something that some of these idiots who think it's a constitutional right might sign on for. You just need one of those two idiots between Barrett and Roberts. But they're never gonna come up with it. So it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure it would work. Joe, the problem with I don't see that happening is that you can't meet the constant audacity of the left normalcy bias and ever expect to win. I'm talking about what I can expect my Congress to do. And what I'm saying is I don't see them doing that. I just don't see that happening. And when it's too creative, it's too original, then they're never going to come up with it. That's just never going to. That's why I say it'll never happen. I'm not saying it's never going to happen because it's not going to pass. I'm saying it'll never happen. That it'll ever be proposed. That's what I mean when I say it's never going to happen. I'm not trying to rain on the parade. I'm thinking about solutions that would be contemplated by Congress. And this is, like I said, very creative solution. This very. The temporary visa for an unborn child is an ambassador of cultural exchange. What happens if they only become pregnant a month after getting here? It wouldn't really remedy that also, right? Because you're not going to give them a visa the moment, at what moment is the womb becoming, at what moment are they getting that status? It's creative. Like I said, I don't see how that would work. Maybe it's my limited mind. It's possible. And real RPP. How you been, RPP? Joe, your cat died? What? You should break it to me like your cat crawled on the roof and slipped. They tried to save him, but he died at the vet. So how's my good friend Mitch, Joe? He's on the roof. Okay. I don't know what you're getting at here. I did say that's how Jews break news. They break bad news, is that they start off with building a bit of a story into it before dropping the hammer. So maybe that's what you're referencing. I assume that's what you're referencing. I don't know. I'm a little bit tired. I've been streaming now for 8 hours today, and it's starting to take its toll. So I think it's time for me to land my plane. That's what's happening now. I am going to be landing my plane. And I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to tell you what I tell all good people of the world. This is what do I tell all good people of the world? I tell them that it was never meant for you, it's meant for they, them. I tell them things like, stay away from the bugs. And I also say to them, good night and Godspeed.
The plane is landing. The show is almost over. All that's left for you is this song. Joe left the studio. He's probably drinking Diet Mountain Dew. Maybe he's watching funny videos on YouTube, or playing chess, or doing Jewy things Jews do. We hope you had fun, and maybe you learned something. You hit like and you subscribe. Leave a comment if If you want to show some love, that would be cool. You can be cool. Leaving comments is cool. So till next time, please be sure to stay away from lab meat. It was never meant for you. It's meant for they or them or comrades, sparkle hugs. And most importantly, do not eat Z-bugs. Good night and Godspeed. Good night and Godspeed.